Welcome back to the Tokenize Podcast. This is episode 3, and today we're diving deep into the brutal truths of crypto gaming in 2025. A lot of people out there think that PlayTorn is dead. It's not. It's evolving, and it has evolved. And if you're still playing like it's 2021, you're already behind. I'm your host, Inspector Mindblow, also known as Tony, and today I'm joined by the legend, the one and only NatureBean, a true Web3 grinder. She made her name in the early days of Axie and is now one of the leading forces in the Pixels community. Lately, she's been branching out, getting beyond Ronin through Tokenize 360, through our guild, and various ways that we're using to try and get her to branch out a little bit. So how was your journey so far?
Well, yeah, that is definitely how it started, and it's definitely been amazing so far to branch out and see what is out there in the Web3 world. I've just basically could say I tipped my toes in with the Ronin community, and I was kind of playing it safe for a while, just wading in those waters and not getting into the big Web3 ocean as much. So it's been like, yeah, just getting a little further into the Web3 world has been really, really cool. And it's been nice to be guided with the Tokenize crew because you guys are awesome crewmates to have on the ship for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely a vast ocean out there, and for a lot of people who say that crypto gaming is dead, and then there's also a lot of people who don't even know what crypto gaming is. Like, everybody knows what gaming is, the biggest industry right now, bigger than music and movies combined in terms of how much money gaming is making. And now Web3, the crypto stuff, the blockchain stuff, is trying to destabilize that a little bit and take a little bit for themselves. But at the end of the day, it's also just gaming. It's the same niche where we're trying to have some fun in a game. Well, for example, you play a lot of Pixels, right? You like your little farming simulator where there's not much violence involved. Where then there's also a lot of games that do require you to do violence. This is something I was thinking about, actually. Is there any game that's not a farming simulator or a sports game that doesn't involve you eliminating other players? I don't think there is.
A good question. Yeah, I don't know. And not on Web3 anyway. I mean, I have a lot of games outside of Web3 that I've played that are not violent, like the block kind of games where you're building and like puzzle type games and racing type games, and they're not necessarily as violent.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, puzzles. That's the one I was missing. So sports, that's one. And then we also have the farming simulators, as we said. And then we also have the puzzles. That's true. I remember playing Portal 2 back in the day, one of my favorite games of all time. That's a puzzle game. Requires you to do very little violence against some AI turrets. But, other than that, it's just a puzzle game. Yeah, we haven't really seen puzzle games make it in crypto. But we haven't seen any game really make it big in crypto except Axie in 2021. And that's been a topic that we discussed in the first 2 episodes with you as well. The rise and fall, and then I guess, can we call it another rise right now that's happening with Axie? I mean, they're trying to they're trying to revive it. They do say that Axie still has over 100,000 daily active players. I honestly doubt that, but can we know that for sure?
Well, and honestly, though, like Axie's, regardless of the heyday and regardless of maybe current statistics in that way, is still a game that still pays. Like if you actually do and you own Axie's, and you do the daily logins and you get that, you can be paid a couple dollars a week just for doing that. So I mean, it's not dead. It hasn't been dead.
I guess that's true. That's true. But at the end of the day, it also depends on what your goal is in crypto gaming specifically. Because for regular games, the goal is very simple: entertain me. I have 3 hours now. I am free for the next 3 hours, and I want entertainment. So that's it. Yeah. Whereas for crypto gaming, it's different. You have to do the math if you're gonna make your return of investment. If you're gonna invest, let's say $100, am I gonna get it back? In a Web2 game, it's not like that. It's more like, oh, I like this skin. Oh, it costs $100 to get the battle pass plus get some of the skins. I'm gonna get it. You don't expect to make it back, and you won't make it back. That's where that's where crypto gaming is different. Where if I spend $100, I can make it back. But then this sets a dangerous precedent where I don't buy the skins for the sake of buying the skins. I'm buying the skins for the sake of making my money back and potentially more on top. So I guess it does set a kind of a dangerous precedent there. Are we in it for the fun, or are we in it for the money, or both? What do you think?
Yeah, well, it's interesting when you put it into that perspective. Like, I've definitely thought about the difference between Web 2, Web 3, and just offline gaming, but I never really thought of that because, like, I'm a person who I enjoy, like, don't get me wrong, I came in trying to make back an investment because it was a hefty investment. And so I was like, yeah, we're gonna have to make that work. But I don't ever, it's not like any other game I've ever gone into. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do this so that I can make my money back. Like, you don't normally play games for that reason. So it is an interesting culture that has been created with Web3 that is the play to earn model, if you will. And I think right now we're definitely seeing a shift in that too, which, like, I know was a big part of the conversation we wanted to have was, just like what is different with crypto gaming and what's happening in that space. But yeah, it's just like I definitely have bought a lot of games in my time where it's like I don't ever think, yeah, I'm gonna make the money back I just bought that $80 game for. And yeah, I don't know. It's just I've never really, I guess that's just like an epiphany just went off. Like, wow, yeah, no, why do people come into it like that? And and I have so much like from all the topics that you had gotten covered today about this kind of idea of the sugar rush. We're looking for that like dopamine hit every time we go onto a crypto game. Why is that? Where did this mentality come from? Like, did Axies create it? Or are we just in that realm right now in our society where we just are craving to make a quick buck, scratch off ticket style?
Well, I guess as soon as you introduce any sort of money-making opportunity, the first thing that the human brain goes to, okay, well, if I got $100 because of this, what if I do XYZ things? Am I gonna get 120 then? It's fun. Like just that concept of being able to do the math of your return of investment, that on its own, for me personally, is fun. So now if we add on top of this another layer, which is the gaming element, it should, in theory, make it even more fun. But then, there's a lot of things that work only in theory. But so far in crypto gaming, for me personally, I've been kind of separated between two realms, kind of. There's games that I truly enjoy, and I play them just for the sake of their good games. Star Atlas, very good point to add here. So they have the shooter mode, super fun to play. I love it. They don't even have earnings in it right now. That's something that's coming. Regardless, I play it. Once they add the earnings element, is it going to change how I feel about it? I don't know. That's going to be a super interesting experiment for me, like a personal experiment to see if my view of the game is going to change or not. But anyway, then there's also the second kind of games where you can do the math. So same as you said for the Axies, you invested a specific amount of money to buy the Axie NFTs. Then we rent them out to other players who farm with them. We can have a massive farm of players who are earning money, and I take the majority split since I invested. At this point, I'm running a business. I'm not playing a game, which is also fun in its own right. So there's the kind of those two things, that's how I see it.
Yeah, well, and I think in gaming and in Web3 especially, you have to get to the point if you really want to make money, and I'm sure we'll dive more into that, but like you really kind of do have to change the mindset a little bit into business if that is really what you want to do, because it's not going to be like when you're gaming. Yeah, of course, there's going to be a fun mechanic of the whole thing because it's a game, or at least there should be. Let's just put it that way. There should be some fun mechanics to it if it's a game. And then that will make it more enjoyable. But at the end of the day, if you are trying to make money in any way in life, I hope you are coming into it with some sort of idea that this is a job, this is work, this is some sort of business aspect that you have to get managed and try to figure out how to do that. So I think it's one of the mindset pieces missing for a lot of people because they're like, oh, I'm just playing a game to make money. Yes, true. But how much are you actually making? Are you doing it right?
Yeah, I guess that's one of the first things actually from our talking points here is why most people never make money in crypto gaming and how to fix it. Well, that part about how to fix it, that's also questionable, It's really, it's really about how you approach everything. And yeah, a lot of people won't make money, not because this is a giant Ponzi pyramid scheme. Don't get me wrong, some games absolutely are. And of course, a lot of people are taking advantage of this new niche that we're creating here and, trying to extract and exploit. But from the player's side, if you look at those games that really do offer you a way to make ROI, to make the return of investment, and to get your money back that you have invested in this game and potentially earn even more on top and have fun on top of everything, most people are stuck in a loop. They jump on the hype and then they chase the next token to pump, and they quit 2 days after they didn't get rich. And this is a problem with crypto overall, not specifically with crypto gaming, where you see a token pumping, but it's not the one that you bought, and then you get into that one, but then that one is done pumping, and the one you held before starts pumping now. And so then you're like, oh, this is a scam, this is a Ponzi, it's a pyramid, get out, save your money. You're just approaching it wrong, right? So people fail because they don't have a plan. They're just kind of vibing, jumping from one game to the next without thinking about it. Because as you said, you do have to have some sort of business mindset if you're here for this extraction part, if you're here to make money. You do need to strategize on your own. And the fact that games rotate quite a bit in crypto gaming, and something that's making money now maybe isn't going to be the same in a week or 2 weeks from now. So you need to have your rotation. You need to do your strategy, and you need to do your research to know which kind of rotation you're going to have. So like playing 10 games for 5 minutes each, or playing one game for 50 hours, it's different. You can't really treat it like a slot machine. And there's the misunderstanding of the concept of the real earnings. It's not just about the token. It's also about the assets. It's also about how much time it takes you to flip, to strategize, and all of that. So how would we fix this? How do we fix this mindset?
And it's like, I mean, is there an answer? Everyone keeps saying they're going to solve play to earn. And I think a lot of it has to do with the player mindset for sure. Or, and maybe that's one of the things is change your mindset of being just a player, right? Think of yourself more as an investor. Even if you don't invest like a certain amount of money, you're investing time, and time is money. So like think of yourself more as an investor instead of just a player, right? Maybe that can help a little bit shift our mindset. Let's be investors. Let's put on the whale pajamas and pretend that we got big money instead of just saying we're players. We're just players. Are you just a player? Because then yeah, maybe you're not going to make any money. But if you're an investor, then you've got skin in the game. Think of yourself that way. Might be a good way to start.
Well, yeah, if you think of yourself as just a player who's just here for the fun, and then you later come to complain about not making any money, well, then who does the problem lie with then, right?
Yeah.
There's different ways to approach this, in my opinion. So it's either pick 1 or 2 games you genuinely enjoy that are in Web3 and crypto, and you go deep. Like you go very deep. You learn the reward mechanics, you learn the token sinks, you learn the economy structure, you focus on the consistent daily plays, and win that way. You plug into a guild like Tokenize 360 for the strategies, for the calls, for the early info. We do bring early info for everything that's out there. And it's not the only guild that does this. A lot of guilds are generating a lot of money for players these days, more than the majority of the games, which is a sad thing. But that's just how the market is right now, So that's also another thing that's different from Web 2 gaming, where Web 2 gaming is always just there. There is no bear bull market. There is no time. Well, I guess there are times when it's a little bit more dry and no good games are coming out, but that's not really a bear market per se like we have in crypto. We have a bear market. It gets bad. It gets so bad. Like even you left during the bear market, right? You just recently came back last year.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I left for probably about a year and a half, and then I wasn't even, I had just basically like been like, nah, I'm good on it. I was with Web3 not being sustainable. I'm not going to play that game. And my husband, however, was not. And he started playing Pixels, and it was during, the berry conversion. And I was like, ooh, what's that? And, I got a little excited and started playing again. And that's what got me back into, okay, maybe this is a thing. Maybe this is more than I thought it was. But for me, like just in general, it's always been about the community. Like what draws me back, it's not even the games or the profits or the what, it's just the community of people that are on this space that I get to interact with, which is like you said, like such a big piece, like plug into community. Because if you're trying to lone wolf your way to profit, like you're gonna burn out. And you're also gonna miss out on some alpha because everybody, you don't always see everything. And having your guild or your friends or whoever, your squad, like that just helps you pick up on so much more stuff. And you'll be lurking around in group chats, then you're just gonna see way, way, way more things, more opportunities. And it really, really makes a huge difference. And for me, that's what's kept me around is just coming back to vibe with the community and learn from the community. Because that's the cool part is that we all get to learn from each other and grow together. And as a teacher, as a mother, like that's like my vibe. Like I'm all about that.
Yeah, the community part is so important in crypto, not just in crypto gaming, but in the overall blockchain space. The community has always been one of the most important pieces, but even more so for gaming, because you can't, I mean, you can play on your own, but it's just not as fun. So again, to do a correlation here with Web2 gaming, if you play with your friend group, it's more fun. Well, in crypto gaming is the same. If you play with your friend group or any person really from any community, is just going to be way more fun for you. But then adding the whole crypto element to this, it's also going to be more profitable because you don't just get to play with them and have fun, you also get to see each other's strategies, and maybe your friend found a loophole that you didn't know about and then you can exploit it together, or whatever it may be. It's just the community aspect is so important. But when we talk about, specifically about the making money part of crypto gaming, because there will always be these two things. It's always, they're always going to clash. Are we here for the fun? Are we here for the profits? We are here for both. And I think that's very evident by now, right?
Yeah, and I just wanted to say back to like what you said, yes, we're here to earn, but it doesn't skip the learn part you talked about. Like you like don't jump on every game, like really learn more about it, fall in love with the grind of that game, learn the meta behind it, get nerdy. Like that's going to help you really dig into more of the earning aspect when you understand the token sinks, you understand the price trends and like all of those things. And if you don't, again, lean into somebody who might and talk to them or listen or see it somewhere, follow them, and it will really help play out in the long run for you being able to make money. Because a lot of the times I feel like people miss it with they're just kind of going with what's, what's on Twitter, what's the next big thing. They jump on, they don't play, they jump on, they don't really play. And then they wonder why they're not making any money. But it's like they're not really learning about the game itself. They're not learning about what's happening, or they're just looking for that quick payout and not seeing like the roadmap. Like so much lies in the roadmap of a game and if it's there and how big something can be if it gets the player base, if it gets the funding. And like I feel like a lot of people don't understand how a lot of these games are starting out so small, and this isn't big, money coming in most of the time. These are little developers. So like a lot of it is the community, and helping the game thrive helps you make money too. Again, back on that investment, return on investment. Like whatever you put into it, you could be essentially in the long run making a lot of money. Whoever believed in pixels when it started, whoever believed in axes when it started, those people made money. And that's another part of it, is really getting to know the things going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's also, again, the big community aspect also comes into play, because you're there from the beginning. Compared to Web2 gaming, and I keep comparing it, I think that's going to be the theme today, like comparing Web2 to Web3. In Web2, we have those big companies that just release a trailer, and then they release their game, and that's it. You're not really involved because there's no need for you to be involved. But in Web3, they're little guys, and that's a good way of saying it. That most of the games, like every single game so far, has been the little guys. It's been the indie developers who started with an idea, made a little community around it. The community got the word out. They got some funding. They started developing it further. And if it's an idea that's going to stick, and if it's something you believe will work out in the end, and then if it does actually work out, that's where the big bucks can be made. And if you can imagine people who found Axie Infinity early on, let's say 2019, or I think they started in 2018 developing, and then maybe 2019, like with the first playable version. So the people who found that back then and supported in the very beginning and bought those NFTs when they were basically worthless and then kept supporting, they have made big money. And I'm talking retirement kind of money, like ridiculous amounts. Will a game get to that point ever again? I doubt it, honestly, because that was the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that was the first one, and I don't think any game will get as big for so many different people, because now we're getting to a point where we have the big studios now who have seen what Axie has done, billions of dollars in volume. I think in 2021, Axie did the same amount of volume as Counter-Strike did, and Counter-Strike does the most volume out of any Web 2 game. So Axie has done the same, and I think a lot of those Web 2 studios saw this, and they're developing in secret, and they will just release a trailer, they will release a game, and then they may build some community around it, but it's not like they need it because they have the funding. They don't need to push it as a Kickstarter project. Whereas Web3 games, well, we have to. Right? There's no other choice there.
Well, and I also think though, that is also one of the beauties of Web3 though, again, and because it's not just like, okay, you play a game, maybe you play with some friends that maybe you meet some people on Discord through whatever, but like with Web3, you're getting people all over the world. You're truly globalizing your network of friends, of just like, I don't know. I think it's really cool. And I know a lot of people there's a lot of scare tactics with like just talking in other countries. And I don't know. And I don't fully, it's just silly to me because like, a conversation isn't going to hurt people. But I think that with gaming, it really just opens up a whole new world. And Web3 also just shows you how different things can affect different areas. And like, but everyone everywhere is trying to figure out this play to earn idea. Everyone everywhere is trying to figure out how can they either build something that's going to help do this, make people some money and also have fun, or they're also investing their time and trying to also find the next big thing that's going to do it. And if you just stick within like your little world and you don't know about Web3, then it's like you're missing out on such a vast community of people that are growing and learning. And, they say what is like the innovators that are online and that you see, people, what is that, TikTok, right? Everybody's like amazed by TikTok and all the people that, there's so many more countries we can see now that are getting traction and it's not just all the same thing. And now granted, I realize that there's probably like, what is that called? Like boundaries on there sometimes of like what you get shown or whatever. But either way, I think it's really cool that we are in a space that we get to interact and communicate with so many different people from around the world that are doing these things and investing their time and money and actually giving back to the community as a whole, right? Like not just like your one community, but as a whole, our whole global community. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, as one crypto game becomes big, all of us will benefit from it. And I agree with you. I agree with you that this is one of the beauties, that we get to be there. So it's not just you have to be there, but we get to be there. That's how I like to see it. And it's awesome.
Yeah.
Honestly, it is awesome. Seeing a game grow from small to big and being part of the process, being one of the people who saw this and not just took advantage monetarily, but also saw the vision, and now the vision is unfolding. It's awesome. There's no better feeling, than getting, your views validated. It's like, yes, I was right. Screw everybody else,
Yeah. Well, that's like with Pixels, right? Like Pixels is still going and Pixels is still innovating. And I know like it's crazy. Some people will see it like, oh, they died, but their token is still worth something. And for let's say the non-Web3 people, like your token is like, you make like a few pennies for certain activities in the game. Like instead of just having your wallet be imaginary money, that actually goes into real money in the crypto space. And of course, we could argue and talk about what crypto money is and if that's real money. But in the end, it is a more viable actual income in a game than just playing a game offline or whatever. And there comes some security things, there comes a lot of different things with it, but it's not as scary as it seems, I'll say that. And two, you don't ever actually have to extract. And, again, depending what kind of investor you want to be. But the point is that the token is still in pixels, still worth something, and it does vary. And every game has their own, and some go up, some go down, some completely crash. But this game has been consistent, and it's been trying to continually figure out how to stay consistent and how they can make a new way for people to continue to come back and earn and also have fun. And they are more focused on the community and the gaming aspect than the earning aspect, because it's not about, it's about making it sustainable so that everyone can get in and also enjoy what we're talking about, and it not just be a quick Ponzi scheme that disappears, right? And if they wanted to, they could have left. And if you've been through a rug pull, it hurts, and nobody wants to feel that, but they are at least showing that there is some longevity along with Axes, of course. But again, Axes, like Tony said, had kind of, I don't say fallen off, but just fallen back a bit, just because it hadn't been the grinding game that it was when it started, and it wasn't the same earning aspect. And everybody, of course, is always looking for, how can I make the most? And like Tony had said before, really it's playing a couple games that actually have some sort of income ability and doing a couple a day. Because in reality, you get bored or you have to wait time for different activities and whatever, like certain games have specific activity, like events that you want to get in at that time. So, it's like really just being open, playing a couple different things at a time, and then being able to cash out, literally or figuratively, however you want to play that game, and get to move forward with the next thing that you're doing. But in Web3, it just kind of makes it a little more real. Like, it makes gaming more real, in my opinion. It makes it less of I'm just playing this game to have fun. Now I'm playing this game to have fun, and I'm earning 5 cents every time I turn in a task board.
Yeah, well, there were the old Web 2 games, the old MMOs like World of Warcraft and stuff, that they had specific raids at specific times. So in order to participate in a big raid, you and your friends, and then also your friends that you never met that live across the world, had to be there at that specific time, because this is when the raid is happening. And this was when gaming felt real for the first time. The thing is that in crypto gaming, it feels like this every single day, and that's the beauty of it, because it's like this event is now, and it's probably going to happen in a week at the same time, but it's happening at a specific time. We have to be there for it, and it's just the stakes are high. You got to play well. You will earn on top of getting some good loot, because in the Web 2 days, you get good loot. That's awesome, but that's it. Whereas here, you get loot you can sell for real money, and then you also get paid on top of this. So it really depends on how a game does it in Web3. It's a good point you mentioned there, that there's so many games that have different tokens. Every game has its own token. There's this whole debate in crypto gaming as well. Do these games even need a token? Token is primarily used as a fundraise, because what even is a token? It's just shares of this company. That's the best way to look at it. A token is the shares of this company. How much the token is worth is how much the company is worth. And if the token goes up, value of the company goes up. Everybody earns more. We're all shareholders. But the thing is that you can earn those shares by playing the game, which is, I'm doing a mind blow emoji in real life now, like my mind is.
Me too.
yeah. So that's kind of the thing, and that's one of the best ways to explain it, I guess. But to add to one of your other points, is this even real money? Is crypto even real money? One could argue, is fiat even real money? Because what is the US dollar if not an agreed upon thing where you say it's worth this much and I say I agree it is worth this much? And then how can the third person say it's not when both of us agreed to it, and then we border? And then, it's kind of the same with crypto, except it's on a public ledger where many, many people agree that this is worth this much. So it's the same. If crypto is a Ponzi, so is the dollar, and so is any other currency. And you wouldn't be wrong to think this.
Yeah, I was gonna say hot take. You might be right.
Hot take, but you might be right. Yeah, I don't know how deep we want to get into this, but yeah, maybe let's keep it gaming related because
Yeah, let's not go too much into the money Ponzi of life. Let's keep it in the game.
yeah, the money Ponzi of life. Well, the thing is with the crypto gaming, we are in an age of overproduction. Games with $10 million trailers and zero gameplay. There's a lot of red flags like this where, well, I may have said $10 million is a bit of an exaggeration, but trailers that just look very expensive, but then there's no actual gameplay. And we see this a lot in mobile gaming. You would scroll Instagram and you get one of those ads and it looks like a fun game you actually want to play. And then you try playing it. It's not at all what the ad has shown, right? In crypto gaming, we have this, but it's on steroids. So there's a lot of both green and red flags that you got to be mindful of in a way. For the green flags, it's important that the company, the game that you're looking at is transparent, that they have a public team with a track record. So if I go to their website and I see that they have anime profile pictures and don't show their face, that's a red flag for me. So anonymous founders who dodge hard questions, red flag. Whereas a transparent public team with a good track record, this is all very obvious stuff. So I'm just trying to create a sort of a base here, right? If there's a playable demo or real gameplay footage, of course, those are green flags. So just some of the things that people need to be mindful of. Whereas for some of the red flags, for example, if a token launched before a game exists, it's a red flag for me personally. But a lot of games do this. And they have a good reason for it. So I don't necessarily blame them. I'm just saying it's a red flag because this is an easy way to scam. But at the same time, some of these games genuinely don't have funding. And so the way they raise money is they create a token that they let the community, the people, buy into. And so that way they have raised money and they're distributing these tokens that you can call their company shares to those people who have invested. And so this makes sense. But it is also very dangerous because what's stopping me from building hype around a game that doesn't exist, but you don't know it doesn't exist, right? And then I launch token. I'm like, I need funding to keep developing this. You buy into my token and I just, block you. Yes. So those are, it's a slippery slope. It's very difficult right now for those indie developers. And what we would need primarily is sort of a VC fund that can help with investing in these games in the early stages, that can vet some of the founders and some of the developers and help those small indie games. That's what we need. And a fund that's not biased towards their friends, because we have so many funds that help only people they know, they help their friends, they help the AAA looking games. Nobody's looking after the crypto indie games. It's only the community who's there for them. And then if the game fails, the community loses. But it's not because the game scammed, it's because they genuinely ran out of funding and there's nothing anybody can do about it. So
Yeah, and I was going to say, and it's interesting too, because what you're saying about the token, and I think there's been some shift in the Web3 world where it isn't even just for funding for, say, a game. Now tokens have become their own world, essentially, where you can make it like ideally tokens should be made for some sort of community project, some sort of idea. But they've kind of started to be memes of their own sort, making it their own, which, they're called meme coins for a reason. And unfortunately, the hype on those can get real strong and a lot of people get excited because they ride hype, but hype doesn't pay most of the time. And maybe you get lucky, but most of the time hype fails. Like hype will fall. Like that's, not always, but when it comes to coins, especially, I've just seen if there's a lot of hype, it's more than likely probably not legit.
Yeah, definitely.
Because when you have a real community built around things, they're asking hard questions. They're making sure that, like, I mean, you get asked all the most ridiculous things when you're trying to start something, and they want to know every detail of everything you're doing. And if you're not seeing that, if you're not seeing even questions being asked or where you can even ask a question, or it's not even like out in the open, like that kind of stuff, again, I'd say is red flags. Like you should be able to ask questions and get answers in the public. And, obviously, as long as it's public information, it doesn't, obviously, you don't have to tell me all your private information, but these are kind of things that would be red flags for me. It's like if I'm not seeing that there's any hard questions being asked, or the community's not even able to ask questions, if they're not even testing and they don't have testers for anything that they're saying that they're doing, that's important. That's really important for just our side of things, to know that it's not, a lie, and not just their own testers. Like you mentioned, like funding with your buddies. It can't just be testing with your buddies either. This needs to be other people are being involved, and you're pulling from the community so that it's obvious, picking people that you don't know, maybe KOLs, maybe not, maybe randos, I don't care, but it better be obvious that you are not the only people playing whatever you're saying you're playing. The other part of the token piece too is like, if it's not fun without a token, like if the token is the only fun, I'm good. Like I need something more to be interested in than just a token. If all
Yeah.
you're saying is a meme coin, you can keep it. I'll wait.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. And I think if any game can figure it out how they can have a pool funded with USD, with cash, or it can even be USDT. It can be USDT, the crypto equivalent of the United States dollar. Great. That would be awesome. I think everybody would be very interested in this idea. But then from a technical side, how would that really work? I guess a couple of games like Cambria, like Party Icons now, are trying something new with this approach where they have a player-funded pool. So then players get in, they know that this is going to be high risk, and that's why they call it risk to earn. It's not play to earn, this is risk to earn. It's a special game mode within these games where you invest your money knowing that if you play bad, you will not make a return of investment. You'll still have fun with the game, but you will not make a return of investment. If you play good, you will be higher up on the leaderboard. Therefore, you will take a bigger piece of the pie, and the pie in this case is the player-funded pool. It's what everyone put inside of this, right? With the game taking their own little cut, which is usually 10 to 15 to 20% sometimes. So for the specific example of Party Icons, they're taking 25%, 75 goes back to the players. This is something that could potentially be sustainable. I don't know if you had any experience with Cambria or Party Icons at all.
Well, it's interesting. I definitely almost got into Cambria, but I started, and I just couldn't. I have ADHD, so I have a hard time sometimes with focusing on all the games that are out there, which is why I really do have I have to strategize. I have to put my time where I am getting the most out of. And when those big things come where it's like, yeah, if I put in, I can do it, then I just start spiraling into like, oh, do I have the time? Do I really have the amount of time to do this? And then I see other people doing so well. But I'll just put it out that way. I saw some amazing payouts from the Cambria stuff that it was like, wow, I should have totally put the time in to actually play that game, because people actually got paid, and not just only the top people. Like people were getting payouts from, just getting on. And that was like a really cool thing to see, because it's something you don't see all the time, where a lot of people are putting in and don't get anything out. It seemed like if you put in, you got something. And so that was cool to see in that model. And the Party Icons, being a similar make, like I think that game is really fun. I think that is really engaging. So I definitely think it's a good way to do it, and that people would be able to do it. I don't know exactly their pool, like top everything. I know you had talked about it, but I think that it's a really cool aspect of Web3 that is, like you said, it is a risk. But if you have the time and you're already going to be playing games, these are the ones when you get into the communities that are telling you about this kind of stuff going on and you can get into it, is worth trying to get into it, because this is where your money is. Because even with the other games, like they'll have special events sometimes that are kind of like this. But these these seem to be the ones that are actually paying people, and that makes a big difference.
Yeah, so it's basically the ones that have these short time events. This kind of stuff, this is sustainable because it's not something that's available 24/7, first of all. And then second of all, the money doesn't come out of investors' pockets where the investors have to buy the token early and the token has to pump. And then the people who get in early, they're going to make some money because the token is still at a good price. And then over time, it gets less and less. It's a totally new model. So can we really say that Play to Earn is dead? No, of course not. It's just changing. It's evolving. It's maturing. So a lot of things have changed since the early Axie days, and this is one of those things that has changed. The scholarship systems where you can invest for other people to play the game for you. So for specific example here, Party Icons, ongoing right now, I bought these are so-called X passes. The X pass grants you access to the X League. Once you buy an X pass, it's worth $20. 75% of that goes into the big reward pool that's currently sitting at $180,000, so fully player funded. And then 25% goes to the company, to the game, right? So that's one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is I can buy X passes for other people as well, and then we can agree on a split. For example, the splits that I'm giving is 80% of whatever you make inside of the game goes to you, 20% goes back to me, but I don't play here. This is just an investment. Whether or not I'll make my money back by being so generous, probably not, remains to be seen. But one of the things that I want to do with this community, this is not a hefty investment from my side. To get 20 people in, it's going to cost me $400. And then if I can just make the 400 back, I'll be totally okay with this, because at the same time, the guild is growing. I will have lots of good things to talk about online about the whole community making money. And so for me, it's a net positive. Even if I lose a little bit of money, for me, it's going to be a net positive that my guild is earning, that the people are earning, that everyone is making money. Even if I'm not directly making money, it's still, if you get what I mean, it's still a net positive at the end of the day. But if it so happens that those players play really well, then that 20% that I'm getting could be really good as well and could give me my money back. Yeah. Now for Axie, of course, it was way more expensive to get in. So the risk was much higher. So for the same amount that it costs now in Party Icons to have 20 players grinding is the same amount that one Axie NFT cost back in the day. And probably not even one full Axie NFT.
Oh my gosh. I only laugh because thankfully I did get in before they like skyrocketed, right? And it was the most insane thing to watch. But you're right. Like, and then watching people invest that, you know what I mean? And then they're buying them at that price coming in. And I was like, oh my gosh, I hope this doesn't just completely fall out, because you guys are investing way more money. And I mean, it was a crazy ride to watch, but like you're saying, this whole thing is a completely different, it's even a different feel, because even back with that investment, it was more scary. Like, oh my gosh, I could lose all of this really quick, because it was also reliant on the token price and not so much because you were earning back an SLP, right? That's how you were earning back money. And
SLP
sometimes you could flip Axies. Yeah, but like, in this aspect, you already have a set pool. So yes, you're risking, but you at least know there's a set thing that you're working towards that's not going to just crumble. Well, I mean, of course they could just take it, but either way, I mean, it's not going to just crumble.
Yeah, they could technically just take it and, buy a yacht and ride off in the sunset somewhere in Asia. But
Yeah.
did you just knock a glass off your table?
I knocked a plate off. Yeah.
Oh, it was a plate. Okay. Anyway, so
like, oh, no.
so while nature's cleaning this mess up, what has changed in Play to Earn? So in my opinion, well, when I say Play to Earn, obviously I mean the crypto gaming, blockchain gaming, NFT gaming. So many names for this. I just like to call it Play to Earn. Everybody knows what I mean. Mostly everybody. Early games relied on the infinite emissions. No one really cared about player retention, just about the token price. And now things are different because the builders are forced in a way to create the fun first and then the earnings second. Which in the beginning, it was something I wasn't for personally, because I was like, I have fun in Web 2. If I want to have fun, I'll just jump in Web 2. But as time goes on, this perspective changes, because now when I jump into Web 2 just to have fun, I'm not having fun anymore as I used to. Web 3 games have ruined Web 2 for me, because now I'm thinking, well, this asset that I just got, oh man, I wish this was an NFT. I don't want to play this game anymore. I had fun with it, but I'm like, doesn't hit the same. I don't own this asset. I don't want to play this game. It's not, I feel like I'm being cheated, and I feel like there can be so much more here. And the fact that I'm feeling I'm a lifelong gamer. I've been gaming since before I could talk. I made a Web 2 gaming channel before my voice has fully matured. So I've been in the trenches for a long, long time. And if I feel like this, a lot of people are bound to feel like this in the next 10 to 20 years. And those games, those companies that see this as the opportunity that it is, will reap the most benefits out of it. Whereas those that are trying to overlook it and are trying to say, oh, this is just a scam, this is just a fad, this is going to pass, it will not pass. If it could ruin Web 2 gaming for me, for someone like me who's, trust me, I have over 200 games on Steam. I bought all the consoles ever created. I'm a gamer at heart, honestly. And it's the one thing that I'm never going to be, stingy about spending money on. It's gaming. And those Web 2 skins that I have been buying in the past, I've always wanted everything. And this is the one thing that I spent a lot of money on. Otherwise, I'm very cheap. when it comes to gaming, I'm not at all. So, for me, it's like, this is it. This is the new thing. And it's only going to get more and more popular. Right now, we're in a weird moment in time where we have so many games right now, so many good games. I mean, even me and you have played so many good games just over the course of the last 2 weeks. Games that I genuinely found fun, and I think you also found them fun. Like, we had fun in Illumia. You had no idea what you were doing. I had no idea what I was doing, but we had fun in it. And then on top of this, we're playing with our own characters. The character I'm playing with, I own that character, and it just hits different. It just hits so different.
That is something I can say. When you said it, I guess I didn't realize it until you said it, but like I agree, and I have the same thing where I can't get into the game because, my kids, they're young and they're into all the things that are going on these days. And it's like, oh, can I have money for this? I'm like, no. Like, I'm not going to buy that thing that you're never going to get any kind of, actual value out of. And it's like, then I sit here and I'm like, okay, to be fair, I do have some NFTs that didn't do that. But when I first got the first one, so I will go into this, Cyberverse was the first one that I got like that, where the NFT had actual utility beyond a skin, right? It wasn't just a skin in the game. It actually had utility of, accumulating some token on top of it. You had extra perks for owning one. All of that stuff made it where it was it was worth it to own these NFTs, right? And not just play the game just base while or have a skin, because you could also buy skins, and there's nothing wrong with that if you like that stuff. I don't want to say that it is, but I'm just saying for me to actually have utility where it's I get to play with my character, level up my character. The whole thing is based on my investment in this thing. That's cool. That's really a cool concept. And Illumia is another one just like that. And maybe that's one of the reasons I also like that game a lot. I also like the art a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's so many cool things you can do once you really see it. And I think Decimated, though I'm not a big into shooter games, I think it's a really cool concept that they have going on with all the things in their game. It also reminds me of Cyberverse a little bit, but the fact that you can own your guns, you can own your cars, you can own all that stuff. And it's not just lost all the time. Every time you play the game, in a normal, Web 2 game or other game, you get to pick it back up and go back into the game with your thing. And I just think that's pretty cool.
Definitely. And then on top of this, that Decimated's model, the way it works is they have a set price pool of their token. Their token is called DO. And they have a set price pool of daily, weekly, and monthly leaderboards. And so if you own one of those profile picture NFTs, you play the game as you normally would and have fun in it. And then if you rank in the top 7 or 8, I think, or it could be top 10 for some of the categories, you get a portion of these deal rewards. So that's the way they're tackling it. It's less sustainable than something that Cambria does. But what it does have going for it is that this is live 24/7. Like, we can jump in and play right now after this podcast is done. And it's, whereas Cambria, it's not in the season right now. So we can't even try it. We can't even experience it right now, because the event is just not happening now. So there are pros and cons with everything, but the one thing that we can definitely agree on is that Play to Earn is changing and it is maturing, and there's new concepts being explored. And the new model, there's a lot of games that are starting the tokenless start. They start with the in-game progression, the optional monetization after onboarding, the community first design, the raids, the guilds, the whole social structure of things, right? NFTs as cosmetics, or NFTs as strategic gear, not necessarily pay to win, and then they do a token if it makes sense. So this is kind of where I see things going. Not every game needs a token. That's the one thing, that we touched upon slightly. But in my opinion, not every game needs to have a token. There have to be better ways of raising money than just launching a token. Because if your token ends up being just a meme coin, as you said before, I mean, I don't even want to own it. Why do I need this? It's useless to me in the game. It doesn't have any value, yet I'm earning it when I'm playing the game. It does nothing for me. So there's different things being explored right now. Memes as meme coins as an earning mechanic are dying, and as they should. And I think I think the right concepts will go on top. Things that work, people will notice. Everybody noticed Cambria. The main reason is because it worked, and that's it. That's it. It's because it worked. So many people made so much money. Those people who made so much money started talking about it online. Other people saw them talking about this. They checked out the game. They were like, oh, this is actually a fun game. It's not just like this person made so much money. It's actually a good game. Everybody that I interacted with from the Cambria days, from the past event that we did, because we also joined as a guild, right? Everyone had a blast playing it. I didn't participate myself because it was a grind fest, and it's not the kind of game I like personally. Because when you play Cambria for those rewards, you have to be online a lot, and it's just not for me. I like to grind as much as the next person, but I also have a life.
Yeah, yes. I need balance. And what you're saying though with the tokenless, I'm actually like super excited. Like you said, like meme coins die, go in your grave, have a great day.
Yes.
But tokenless onboarding means I can onboard friends without having to give that 10-minute lecture of what a wallet is and what crypto is and like what everything else in the world is. Because when I had Axes back in the day, I of course onboarded some friends and family because I'm like, yo, get in, get some money. Like, this is worth it, I promise you. And now granted, they never made a huge amount, but they got to make some, and it was great for me at the time. It's like, as a stay-at-home mom, this is the kind of stuff that we're always looking for. It's like, how can I make some money by just hanging out and not really I don't need a lot of effort because I'm watching my kids, but if I can just play a couple games to make a couple bucks, like, that's cool. And this was simple, right? But the next piece of it was like, okay, yeah, you'll have to get a wallet, and then I'll send you the money to this, and you have to do this, and you have to do that. And it gets a little complicated. And so the idea that we're getting to a point that we can onboard people without having to scare them with the crypto world. And then if they're interested in it, we can start teaching them about it, explaining it. And I even feel like it is actually getting a little bit easier to work with as well, to get things out of crypto, to work with crypto. And so regardless of your feelings on crypto, it is here, and it is definitely here to stay for quite a while. But it definitely is making it easier to onboard people. And I'm excited to see the new games that are coming out that way. And I've seen a few, because there's a few that are already out there like that. And it's really cool to watch what's happening with those games, because you've got Fishing Frenzy. Like, Fishing Frenzy is one of those games I think you can start it without having to have a wallet. And it's actually doing really well as a game. And of course, Web3's all over it. But there's a couple of other ones, I just can't remember them off the top of my head, but they are there, and they are definitely starting a whole new way to get people on board to learn the game and see that these are just regular games, but you get to have a little more investment, a little more like say in the way that the games go, because you can actually join the community, be a part of the community. And if it's a good community, then most of them are listening and want to know what can they do to build and what can they do to help everybody continue to come back and play these games, because it helps everybody then at that same time. And I also want to say, like, the other cool piece is like what has happened with communities like the guilds and things like that, because they're also helping players. It can be scholarship style leadership. It could be managing different assets. It could be renting them gear. It could be just giving them different things to start the games. And it's helping people overall learn more about how vast the space is and what is building out here. It is not just one game. It is not just the dead meme coins. It is a huge, huge ecosystem that we just have to keep fostering, right? And we just have to keep coming back and letting them know we want real stuff. Of course, there's always going to be the fake players, but like we are here to show that like we can make this work. And I mean, and Tony, you come from the YouTube world. Like that is another thing. Everybody's like, oh, YouTube's dead. You can't make money on YouTube. You can't do this. Nobody can do these things, right? But you're living proof that you totally can. And Web3 is another one of those things that people will say it doesn't exist. You can't do that. Oh, well, actually you can.
Yes, and there's people actively doing it. So no one can say it's not possible if you have real world examples of people doing it. So even now, those people that say crypto gaming is dead, and meanwhile on our Discord the other day, White CY made $200 from playing party icons. A little bit before that, the Kakarot, another Discord member, made over almost $1,000 actually he made from playing Treevers. Now, albeit Treevers, their token generation event didn't go as planned. Still, a lot of people made good money with it. A lot of people are very happy with it. That's another crypto game. There's so many crypto games right now. And that's why we're in such a weird in such a weird timing right now, because we have so many games, so many good games. And I feel like those meme games, those extractors and everything else, it's dying out slowly. And the good games are swimming up to the surface and showing themselves in the light. And we see everything. We see all the good games. We notice them. We play them actively. And we are still in such a weird space because the gaming tokens at the same time, because we are following the market, the gaming tokens are just not doing anything. And so if you've been invested in crypto gaming, money-wise and not just time-wise, then you're not having a good time right now. I invested a little bit in gaming, not as much as in other things, luckily. Although I'm a big advocate of gaming, I'm not an advocate of investing in gaming. Well, I'm not an advocate of investing in anything. This is no financial advice. I'm just doing my thing. I'm just doing my thing. I'm just gambling my life savings on this as everybody else is. If it works out, it works out. No, just joking. Of course, you got to do your own research and everything. This could be like a whole another 1 hour discussion just on this. But the point of the matter is we are doing better than ever if you look at the quality of games, yet we're doing worse than ever before if you look at the market, if you look at the token prices, if you look at how much is being extracted. A lot of people made a lot more money back in the day than they are making now, but now we also have a lot more people. So there's an upside, there's a downside, there's two sides to this. And we are in a weird space, but we're not going to be in this weird space forever. In fact, I don't think we're going to be in this weird space for a very long time. I feel like we have hit the rock bottom of the general gaming sentiment from the non-gamers. Because those people who say crypto gaming is dead are those people who never play crypto games, who are not participating in the communities. And so they think this is their opinion. And their opinion has no merit because they're not part of the communities. They have no clue that it's more alive than it's ever been.
Yeah. Amen.
Amen to that. I wanted to let you add something there. That was perfect. That was all. She should have ended it right there. Anyway, crypto gaming in 2025 isn't easy. It's not just plug and play. It's real. And it's more real than ever. And if you're strategic, if you're patient, and if you're connected to the right community like Tokenize 360 or any community like it, you can definitely earn in this space without burning out. Shout out to NatureBean for joining us today here, joining me. And if you want more alpha, join us all as well on Tokenize 360. I'm always online. Nature's always online. It's more than a guild. It's a system for surviving and for thriving. And it's for the future of crypto gaming.
Thanks for joining, guys. See you later. Bye.